made this viewfinder effect. It's effectively a post-production effect that you would put on top of a already completed clip. We have a quick look at the plate that I'm running in the background. So here is a plane with a video playing back on it as an animation. Above that is a box object which is shrouding a camera. The camera is inside. So there's the camera hiding inside this box, which is the viewfinder. The viewfinder box has a number of unusually shaped elements inside, which are all reflective surfaces with a hole cut at the bottom with rounded corners as the aperture. Underneath that is another plane. Jump into this view. A plane down here which is just green for the sake of being able to see it. You'll notice has a circle in the middle, or an oval shape, and it has a grid pattern as well, which is the graticule that you can see in the viewfinder. The graticule has the oval cutting through it in the middle, and it also has a bit of fall off around the edges, so it gets a bit darker around these edges. And because I have glare turned on, we get some little bit of flaring, as if it was flaring on the graticule of the viewfinder in the camera. To sell the effect, the camera is employing shallow depth of field, and you can see here I have focus distance. Well, the focus could be set to the actual object, which is the plane, so that's in focus. And it's running at about 1.6 f-stop. You could have a lot less for more out of focus. You'll notice the graticule still effectively looks in focus in this case, as if the image is focusing on the viewfinder pellicle. The viewfinder object itself is made of these two elements, the graticule plane and the box object which wraps around the camera. The box object has two materials then. It has the shiny box material, which in this instance is just me driving the specular value of the principled BSDF, and I'm using a Voronoi texture so I can get some variation in the reflections, quantity of the reflections, and I'm driving the amount via this map range node, so I can turn the reflections right down, or I can have it turned right up like shiny alfoil. Woohoo! Let's take photos through shiny alfoil. The other materials for the other element of this object, which is that plane with the graticule on it, and so that's the fall off material, and I've assigned that by its vertices. And we can see here that there's some more nodes assigned to this. Here is the graticule, or the grid, two brick textures to make the grid, one a finer scale and the other one a larger scale. They both have very thin mortars. You'll see the mortar size, 0.005 in this case. And this mortar size on the small grid is driven by the Voronoi texture to give it some variation of thickness. And if we jump back here, you can see that it falls off around these edges, as well as being cut away in the middle by a gradient node circle effect, or oval shape. And then it all gets added together because I'm using the factors. We can use them as math effects, not color. I can turn off the graticule by muting this, turn it back on, and I'm passing that through an invert color ramp to give it some density on the oval shape. And that's all driving down through the alpha. In this case, the alpha is using alpha blend. If I used alpha hashed, it would take quite a while to compute, and I'd need a lot of samples, and it would no longer be very nice real time. So I've just left that at alpha blend, so it's nice and clear. If I come back to my camera and change the depth of field, so turn off the target and make the depth of field interactive, then you'll notice that the depth of field still works on the alpha blend, which honestly didn't used to be the case in Blender until a few versions ago, I don't think. So now the alpha blend seems to work on materials as well. You can have a lot of defocus, or not very much defocus, and you can see if I turn off the shallow depth of field that the elements are much clearer and they're not particularly attractive. They look cool when they're out of focus. I also edited some actual objects down the bottom here for bits of plastic falling into the film frame. And the image plane means that we can change that at any time to any other image. So it's effectively a post-production effect for any shot that you've already rendered. This is just a real-time 3D view of a laptop that I rendered earlier in the year, late last year. So there you go, use your Lomo effect through a viewfinder.